Zendaya is the most interesting person on the red carpet. One day she's in a hot pink Tom Ford breastplate, and the next time you see her, she's in a chrome exoskeleton from the Mugler archives. And behind that transformation is one person, La Roche. So let me tell you the story of how a Disney star became a global fashion authority with the most strategically curated style evolution of the 2020s. But before we dive in, I'm Isabel. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because if you're into fashion and internet culture, this channel might be just for you. So let's get into it. When you look at Zendaya's early red carpet looks, they are very much what you would expect of a Disney star. She was a child, and rightfully so, dressed like one. But as she got older and wanted to mature her style, major fashion houses wouldn't let her borrow their clothes.
I would write Saint Laurent, Chanel, Gucci, Valentino, Dior, and they would all say no. Try again next year. She's too green. She's not on our calendar.
So he took red carpets and pretty much any event she was invited to, and they created their own runway. They started with vintage pieces and styled her an emerging designer to create her viral red carpet looks from the ground up, and they made it a rule.
So when I said, if you say no, it'll be a no forever, that rang true for a long, long time.
And so Zendaya's fashion identity was born. Bold, loyal, unpredictable, and always completely in control. Okay, but let's take a step back because none of this happened overnight. La Roche is an image architect, which means that there is always a very intentional plan going on behind the scenes. And one of their moves early on in her career was the who wore it better effect. La Roche would intentionally dress Zendaya in outfits that others had worn to get her name in the conversation. It worked perfectly. And soon enough, people outside the Disney bubble started to know her name. On top of that, the woman was going to events that she had no business being at. But one thing she was going to be was well dressed.
Like, I would show up to shit I had no business being at just so I can get the look. I was called for years to be like, oh, the seat filler, she just shows up to everything, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, but I look good though, so.
Fast forward to now, when they create a look, they start with a feeling and how they want others to feel when they look at her. And they are huge on referential fashion. Black culture, old Hollywood, 80s glam. There's so much history behind some of her looks that you could go down a rabbit hole and learn about an actress or cultural references from years ago and find something entirely new to obsess over. I love how they do this because if you look at the outfit, take them at face value, and just enjoy a beautiful look, you can totally do that. And if you want to spend the next 3 hours learning about an actress or time frame that inspired the look, you can also do that. There's truly something for everyone. Now to my favorite part, the storytelling, because this is where I get to show you a few of my favorite looks and why I love them. Oddly enough, they are both Dune related. So the first one is the Balmain leather sculpted dress at the Venice Film Festival of 2021. She looked like a living statue. This was sculpted to her body. The dress was made using a 3D mold of Zendaya's torso so they could shape the leather to fit the body perfectly and create this wet silk drapey look. It's just so impressive to me how they managed to take leather, which is known to be such a heavy, sturdy fabric, and make it look almost like silk, just weightlessly draped on her body. So I actually love how they were able to manipulate leather so skillfully in order to make this look. In general, I just love when artists use fabric or even thread as medium, and this collaboration between Olivier Rousteing and Robert Mercier is one of my favorite examples. Then we have the legendary Maschinenmensch suit by Thierry Mugler. This is a piece that took 6 months to build back in 1995. It was inspired by the robot from the 1927 silent film Metropolis. It's all about the mashup of human and machine, and by choosing this piece, Zendaya and Law wove together the worlds of classic sci-fi and Dune's futuristic universe. Ever since its runway debut, the suit has rarely seen the outside of a museum. And despite the potential overheating from the metal and plexiglass, Zendaya looked so cool in this. But the most surprising thing to me was the fit. If her measurements had been off even slightly, this wouldn't have worked. But they pulled it off so well, and it fit her perfectly. Zendaya and Law have taken method dressing to a whole other level. Time and time again, they've used the red carpet to continue the story that's being told on screen. And then you get this cute little spin-off on how the garments were made. And finally, probably one of my favorite things about Zendaya is that you will never catch her business on the street. Her personal life stays mostly private, and she only shares little glimpses here and there as she feels comfortable. And even though I think the biggest reason for this is to keep her sanity, it also avoids overexposure. People are not seeing her day in and day out, and and this builds anticipation for the moments when they do get to see her. She is now engaged and will probably get married in the most beautiful dress that we will never get to see. And as sad as that is for me, I absolutely love that for her. So now, fashion brands seek her out as a partner, not just a face. Her impact is commercial. When she wears something, the entire stock sells out within hours. This moves Zendaya from the fashion girl category into more of a role of fashion authority. And even though people are not going to be going to her for her opinions on the latest runway show, she's definitely not just a cute girl who loves clothes. Unfortunately, in this industry, talent isn't enough. Your brand is just as important as your acting skills. You need both, and Zendaya is the perfect example of what happens when you get them right. Zendaya's fashion choices were always career moves in couture. Do you think Zendaya had the best fashion arc of the 2020s? And if not, who was it? Let me know in the comments. So if you're into fashion breakdowns, career pivots, and how style can help build legacies, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. See you next time. Bye.